A Senate bill establishing a temporary working group to study the preservation of Waipio Valley was passed through a key House committee. The bill, which would also appropriate money for the purchase of Bishop Museum land in the valley, was introduced by Senator Malama Solomon.
Well, this issue came up really from the Waipio farmers. And, when I first took office in the 80s, most of the aina in Waipio, which is approximately close to 700 acres, was really under some kind of cultivation. And in terms of what I would call a wetland crop. We had the Chinese lotus that was grown down there, which is a wetland crop. We had rice, not just kalo. Yeah, it's a wetland crop. Bishop Museum, I guess the way that they have been managing the valley, what's happening now is that a lot of these wetland crops no longer exist, and they've become smaller. So the Taro Lo'i down there is approximately 200 acres of the 700 acres. So the museum has approached the legislature and asking the legislature, because the legislature has these funds called for legacy land funds, and the legislature made that decision when I wasn't there, but where they did purchase a farm, that was Ma'o, I think it was Gardens, that they did purchase a farm. So, and then, anyway, so it all came to that point of discussing what is the future of Waipio. And so now we have a resolution put together, and this resolution is creating a working group to bring all the stakeholders together to start to really discuss the future of the valley, and as to see whether or not the state of Hawaii would like to purchase the land from the museum, so the museum can continue its mission, which is, of course, the Bishop Museum and their interests, and then to also preserve taro farming in Waipio.
Senate Bill 3063 has passed through the Senate, and on Wednesday it was heard by the House Committee on Ocean, Marine Resources, and Hawaiian Affairs. Ken Rockhiga was there to testify in support of the intent of the bill.
The primary intent of this bill is to make appropriations for the purchase of lands held by the Bishop Estate in Waipio Valley. I'm here to support the overall intent to preserve the cultural and historical importance of Waipio Valley. Waipio Valley is a special place to Hawaiians in general and dearly loved by my family in particular. We have held our property in Waipio Valley for many generations and want to continue to keep our heritage lands intact for generations to come. I represent our family's intent to restore Lalakea Fish Pond to a productive state once again. Lalakea Fish Pond is located just off the ocean on the southeast shoreline of Waipio Valley. Our primary neighbor is the Bishop Estate. The pond had been neglected since the tsunami that struck the Hilo and Hamakua coast in 1946. My late parents and other elders now at rest could not focus upon the task of restoration, having to toil and care for their individual families. However, my presence here today is to validate our connection to Waipio Valley and support all collaborative efforts to preserve Waipio Valley. I am actively developing plans to restore Lalakea Fish Pond to a productive asset of Waipio Valley once again. We support the intent of SB 3063 and request to be a part of the ongoing conversation with legislators as the bill moves forward. We further welcome DNLR's support in facilitating pond restoration permits and all things relating to the preservation of the cultural and historic importance of Waipio Valley. Mahalo, aloha ke akua.
Mahalo.